Alright guys, so I recently saw this video, Star Wars the most powerful characters ranked by CBR, and yeah, it's pretty bad. So I'm going to be debunking it now. I'm just going to be pausing it whenever they say anything cancerous, and yeah, let's get into it.
The Force is strong in this video. But what does that even mean? It's not easy to measure one Force user compared to another. Sure, you could go by midichlorian count, but no one wants that. Face it, that's better off ignored. Still, the whole situation leaves us in a controversial spot. We can emphasize ability with the Force, battle strategy, or combat skills. One has to be more important in this galaxy far, far away, right? Well, we think we've struck the right balance, and this list is the evidence. Just don't get upset about General Grievous's placement, alright? If this was a green milk drinking contest, well, Luke would win this easily. In terms of power, though, he just barely crosses the finish line at first. A big part of this has to do with his legacy after return.
No, if they did any research into this, they'd know that even in canon, Luke stomps every other character in Star Wars. He, casually one-shotted Star Destroyers. It was compared to a kid playing with his toys. So, no, it's a big difference.
Of the Jedi. It's one thing to confront the Empire as a lone rebel. It's another entirely to sit in the throne room of two powerful Sith Lords and resist the dark side. Luke showed a natural connection with the Force, and on top of that, he's a brilliant pilot and marksman. It took all his ability to bring back the Jedi from the brink of extinction. Even in that failure, we see real success.
Okay, that wasn't too bad.
It's not surprising to see two Skywalkers at the top of this list.
Yeah, okay, that's wrong. Vader's definitely not the second most powerful character in Star Wars canon.
Two of them fulfilled the prophecy and brought balance to the Force. Anakin Skywalker showed promise from an early age, and everyone knew his connection with the Force and talent on the battlefield made him a serious threat. It's not just about pure Force use on this list, though. Darth Vader shows a natural leadership quality in the early days of the Empire's conquest. His military might is unparalleled, and his instinct is special. Hence why he's number 2 in the galaxy. Darth Sidious is a sneaky snake who doesn't let...
Yes, so Vader definitely isn't 2. Anakin, with his full Force potential unlocked, he could be 2. I mean, him versus Luke Skywalker would be a pretty heavily debated topic. But no, Vader's definitely not above Sidious and Yoda and the rest of those guys.
Others see the full extent of his powers. It's clear his political sense is unheralded, but his combat skills leave a lot to be desired. He's got one really cool spin move.
Yeah, Sidious was trained in all 7 forms of lightsaber combat. He was one of the best duelists in the galaxy, despite the fact that he viewed dueling as below him. He didn't engage in it because he just thought it was people who are below him did. And he only used his Force powers. He more predominantly used his Force powers. But the fact that he was that skilled with the lightsaber and he didn't even care about it was... Yeah, no, they're wrong on all accounts.
Then that's about it. The main reason we put him up so high on this list is his knowledge and connection with the dark side. He's able to corrupt strong Jedi and push them to follow his command. Furthermore, he nearly wipes out the entire Rebel fleet in one simple maneuver. The dude knows how to foil plans easily. Give props where props are due.
Okay, that's fair.
Palpatine is straight up sinister, and that counts for something. We were so tempted to put General Kenobi at the top of this list. You guys have no idea how much we wanted to do that, but the truth won out.
Kenobi's not above Yoda. I mean, Kenobi's below Windu. I mean, maybe Old Man Kenobi, he was significantly stronger than normal Obi-Wan, and when he became Old Ben, he was almost at Yoda's level. But he wasn't above Yoda. That's ridiculous.
Obi-Wan is one of the greatest characters in the franchise, but he's not the most powerful. He did defeat a Sith apprentice as a Padawan, so major props there. In fact, it's clear to us that he's the most skilled swordsman in the galaxy.
That's not true. Mace Windu is stated to be a better duelist than Obi-Wan. And Yoda is stated to be a better duelist than Mace Windu. There are so many characters who are better at dueling than Obi-Wan. He was powerful as Old Ben, but that was his force power, less his dueling ability.
Even Anakin was no match for his talent. Even as he aged into Ben Kenobi, and that skill faded, his connection with the Force grew. All in all, Master Kenobi is certainly one of the most even-leveled Jedi. Small is Yoda, and talk like this for a video. We will not. Yeah, that gets old real quickly. Trust us. So let's move on from that idea and talk about everyone's favorite little green alien. For our money, Yoda is definitely the strongest Jim Henson-style puppet. Kermit's got nothing on him. Yoda is far and away the strongest Force user on this list. His connection with the world allows him...
That's not true. If he was the strongest Force user, then why isn't he number one? Luke is way stronger than him. Okay, not way stronger, but he's stronger than Yoda.
To peer into the future and discern people's troubles. The Force and Yoda are basically best buds. They go for drinks on weekday nights. That's how close they are. He may have lost a step or two in the combat area, but
he didn't lose a step or two. He was the best duelist in the Jedi Order.
Never underestimate this little green dude. You're not making an accurate power ranking list if you don't put your franchise's Samuel L. Jackson character near the top. The man rocks every role that he plays, and almost every role that he plays is the biggest threat on the screen. Everyone knows that Mace Windu had Palpatine on the ropes until, well, this happens. Boo, Anakin. Boo. He spoiled one of the greatest victories in the history of the Jedi Order. Mace Windu is one of the most powerful Force users in the galaxy. Plus, his skills with a lightsaber are second only to Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Are you sure about that?
That's not true at all. He is stated to be second only to Yoda. He's the only one who's ever bested Yoda in a sparring session. So he's above Obi-Wan in dueling ability. Like, that's a fact.
It's about time the general fans recognize just how strong and amazing Mace Windu actually is. There's not much known about the great Sith Lord who Sidious was loyal to for a time. One thing is for sure though, it might be Jar Jar Binks, but we honestly doubt it. Still, we can dream, can't we? I mean, it would make Jar Jar so much more purposeful in the narrative. Regardless, Darth Plagueis the Wise is clearly a powerful character. He prolonged his life by using the Force and bent that power to his will effortlessly. Of course, the end result of his experiments and effort was his demise, but you can't blame him for trying. We'd be tempted to put him higher on the list, but the proof just isn't there.
Yeah, no, that was pretty weak. That was pretty bad justification for putting him so high. Plagueis was only really famous because he trained Sidious. That was his only big thing. Like, he's not above characters like Dooku. So, yeah.
Maybe it's the fact that we've seen Liam Neeson do this, or the fact that he's done this. Either way, it's easy to envision his Star Wars persona as equally powerful. The Jedi Knight that we got a glimpse of is only showing off a fraction of his talent. Qui-Gon is tied down to a story that's limited in action sequences. He doesn't fight much, and when he does, he loses. And that might take him down a few pegs on some people's lists. But we remain firm believers in the potential. He did have a hand in bringing up
Choose your destination. Your rocket. And 3, 2, 1.
Two of the most powerful Jedi Knights, and that counts for something.
Yeah, Qui-Gon's definitely not above Maul. I mean, Maul literally beat Qui-Gon. They clearly didn't do any research into that. Qui-Gon's not above Dooku or Maul, or loads of other characters. Yeah.
Ahsoka Tano would barely crack this list years ago. As a Padawan, she showed promise, but her mistakes outweighed her accomplishments. In total, her efforts during the Clone Wars deserved recognition, but it wasn't enough to put her this high on this list. The transition that she made as a character during the Rebels television show is what puts her up here. She went from rebel legend to spiritual ally Her connection to the Force and the world as we know it is entirely different now. She's now more than a skilled warrior and expert lightsaber wielder. She's gained a spiritual understanding of the Force, and that is a big boost in our minds.
They clearly didn't do any research into this once again. Yeah, Ahsoka's not above Dooku and Maul. They're just better than her in a lot of ways. I'm pretty sure she's dueled Maul, and Dooku is just way superior to her. He's not even close. Yeah.
We're pretty split on this one. On the one hand, Darth Maul is one of the most imposing villains in the entire franchise. On the other hand, he was literally cut in half by a Padawan. So things tend to even out here. Given that his survival is canon, we are required to take that into account. He's certainly one of the better lightsaber users in any Star Wars material. You do not want to cross blades with him on any day of the week. He also showed a talent for tracking and ambushing opponents. Darth Maul is a consistent threat within the underbelly of the galaxy. It's best not to cross him. Two Sith apprentices?
Maul shouldn't be above Dooku. Dooku is one of the best duelists when he was in the Jedi Order. He was the only one who was worthy to fight Mace Windu, and Mace Windu, as I stated earlier, was the only one who's ever bested Yoda in sparring. And yeah, Windu's he's dueled Yoda, he's beaten up Anakin and Obi-Wan. I mean, yeah, he was beaten by Anakin, but that's still more than what Maul has. Dooku's definitely above Maul.
Is back to back? What is this, a crossover episode? Well, unlike always cheerful Mr. Peanut Butter, Count Dooku isn't here for fun and games. He switched to the dark side to gain power and bring new order to the galaxy, and he was so close to making it happen too. Dooku is supposed to be a threat. He's the leader of the CIS forces and does an excellent job keeping the Clone Wars close for a long time. However, in the end, Sidious tosses him aside like yesterday's news. It's a sad way to go out, but he still deserves a high spot on this list. Fans of the new
That's not a high spot, though. He deserves a way higher spot.
Trilogy are definitely sharpening their pitchforks. For some, this ranking is far too low, but we argue that it's just right. Kylo is getting stronger, but he shows no signs of being a master strategist or fighter. He's tied deeply to the Force thanks to his bloodline, but that's all he has going for him right now. Remember, he almost lost to Finn in a lightsaber duel. You can't get defeated by two people who just found out about the Force. He shows moments of incredible power and might, but they're only glimpses. Call us when he truly proves his placement in the top.
Yeah, if they'd done any research to this, they probably would have read the novels and realized that in the novels, Kylo's guts were almost hanging out when he was fighting Finn, and he had to hold them in, so yeah, it was more than just a shot to the stomach.
5. Refer back to the Kylo Ren entry we literally just did. It's the same case for Rey. The proof is in the pudding, but right now, Rey shows a natural knack for the Force, but her training is slowly progressing. There's tons of promise, but we don't see her beating out the other entries. All the other people on this list are war-weary fighters. Rey is fresh compared to them. She's like a plain baked potato. A little bit of seasoning will go a long way in helping her case. Alright, maybe comparing her to a potato wasn't the best use of figurative language, but you get the point.
That was probably the only correct character placing here.
Asajj Ventress lived a full life, boiling over with turmoil, pain, and heartache. She's the poster child for the dramatic effects the Clone Wars had on the star system at large. Over the course of the fighting, she continued to build her strength and proved to be a worthy adversary for anyone on her bounty list. She's one of the only Force users to flow between light and dark and then back to light. Her natural ability carried her far in life, but her lack of real training from a Sith or a Jedi Master was her downfall. If she just got a chance to refine her skills, she could have been one of the most renowned fighters in the entire Clone Wars.
Grievous has beaten Asajj Ventress in duels. Like, straight up beaten her. He beat her and Dirge at the same time. And Dooku's literally stated that he views Grievous as a bigger threat than Ventress, so yeah, Grievous is definitely above Ventress.
Supreme Leader Snoke is an enigma. It's hard to gauge his power because the movies tried to keep his background a mystery. By all accounts, he sort of just showed up out of the unknown region and bullied his way into the Supreme Leader role. The power vacuum that was left after the fall of the Empire needed to be filled by someone. We do know from the novels that Snoke is aware of aspects of the Force that were only discovered recently.
Right, so they bring up the novels now, but they just have ignored them in every other entry.
One thing he shows a knack for is the ability to manipulate and bend powerful Force users to his will. He is a great puppeteer, just like Sidious was. It's possible the two of them may have met at some point. Congrats.
Okay, well, I mean, I can't really fault them on that. This was made before Episode 9, so yeah.
That's Boba, you're the first entry for a non-Force user. What's that? You say you can't hear us from the belly of the Sarlacc pit? Well, that's too bad, isn't it? We're gonna keep your spot in the order anyways. Yeah, it's controversial to include non-Force users in this power ranking, but we need some diversity here, right? Boba Fett is certainly the most deadly bounty hunter in the entire series. Now, sure, we don't see his talent on screen often, but those facts are in his backstory. We should reward that skill instead of pretending like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, Boba in EU he's a beast. He's insanely OP. In canon, he really hasn't done that much. But yeah, Grievous is definitely above canon Boba Fett.
Fisto is the second to last Jedi slain by Darth Sidious in that epic showdown. He took on General Grievous and his guards while managing to escape. He's one of the most underrated Jedi in the entire franchise. So, we're here to fix that problem. Fisto is one of the most emotionally present Jedi in the Order. He shows control over his feelings, but he's not afraid to express joy or humor every now and then. He's also a skilled Force user and an expert tactician. He led an entire army underwater and held his own in all of his combat missions. Next time you're considering some of the best Clone War generals, be sure Fisto makes it onto your list.
Yeah, I mean, Fisto did go up against Grievous and was pretty dominant in the fight, but I'd still hold Grievous above Fisto. Grievous just has better feats. He also has really low showings, but I mean, yeah, Grievous should be above Fisto.
Before he became Kanan Jarrus, he was Caleb Dome. As Dome, he was known as an Order 66 survivor. Keep in mind that at that point, Dome was only a Padawan. Imagine being that young and surviving the Jedi Purge. It took a lot of help to keep him alive, but a part of that was his own abilities as a Jedi. He grew into a skilled rebel with a knack for battle strategy. Despite not completing the training with his master, Jarrus still accomplished the rank of Jedi Knight. Even when he lost his sight, he still showed signs of being a true threat to his enemies. There's a lot going against him, but he still won out.
I'm pretty sure there's a canon comic where Grievous beats up Kanan's master, or like a whole bunch of Jedi Knights that were like on his level. So yeah, he's definitely that's wrong.
Mundi had the foresight to worry about the droid attack on the Wookiees. And if that doesn't earn him a spot on this list, then we don't know what will. His planning and execution of battle plans made him one of the top generals in the clone army. If not for Order 66, Ki-Adi-Mundi would have gone down as one of the greatest. Unfortunately, his time was cut short. However, he proved enough during his time in the war to earn his spot. He wasn't the most skilled pilot or Jedi, but he made the most of his talent. It certainly took him far in life, but his weaknesses eventually caught up to him. The Bendu's power...
So they basically just said he's bad at everything, but he tries hard. That doesn't grant you a list on a power scaling video? What?
Is hard to gauge. Some might argue he deserves to be much higher on this list. Others are going to claim that he doesn't deserve a spot on this list at all. We think it's safe to put him just inside the top 20. He's clearly worth mentioning, but there's not enough evidence to move him any further. The Bendu is clearly a powerful, force-driven creature. The amazing part is he sits right in the middle of the two sides. He was able to unleash a powerful storm that tore through two warring parties. So sure, he likes to play Switzerland in times of conflict, but he's clearly one with the Force.
I haven't watched that episode of Rebels, so I can't say anything about him.
Without Leia, the entire Rebel Alliance falls apart. She took an army on the brink of defeat and kept them afloat. A lot of her plans and battle strategies kept the Empire from fully seizing control of the galaxy. That's not even mentioning her force sensitivity. Granted, we don't see Leia pull out the force card all that often. However, in the most recent trilogy, she's become more willing to show off a little bit. She survives a bomb blast to the bridge of her ship. She literally floats Mary Poppins style in the middle of space. We're not sure just how deep her power goes, but it's clearly present. We just don't see it enough to move her any higher.
Yeah, Leia is definitely not above Grievous. I mean, maybe in no, not even in strategy. Grievous was literally taken in by the Separatists because he was such a good strategist against the Kaleesh. I mean, against the Huck when he was a Kaleesh. And yeah, in a duel, I mean, obviously it'd stomp her. We haven't really seen anything of her actual lightsaber skills in canon, so yeah. I don't know what this list is doing.
Anyone else notice that we haven't had a villain show up
Okay, Grievous is definitely above this guy.
on this list in a while? It's about time to change all that. So who better to break up all this good than the Grand Inquisitor? A guy known for his Jedi hunting skills. The most threatening part of this unnamed character was his knowledge of the enemy. He used to be a Jedi Temple guard. His knowledge of both the light and dark gave him an advantage in any fight against a Force user. He's also trained in lightsaber combat. There's a reason Vader used the Inquisitors to hunt down rogue Jedi, and he's the best of the best.
Okay, no, Grievous is definitely above that guy. Grievous regularly stomps like entire groups of Jedi. That guy's like, can maybe take a Jedi Knight. He's like maybe Jedi Knight level. Grievous is like, takes out multiple Jedi Masters and Knights at the same time.
It was never easy for Ezra Bridger to meet his destiny.
How is Ezra above Grievous?
He was trained in the ways of the Force by a guy who never rose past the rank of Padawan. That's like learning how to make a pizza from someone who's only ever assembled a pizza Lunchable. It's gonna work, but just not super quickly. Over time, things did pan out for Bridger. Eventually, he discovered new facts about the Jedi and their ways. He's been to places almost no other Jedi has gone. He's literally existed out of time before, and that's just wild to consider. The fact that he learned the skills that it took to become a Jedi with one hand tied behind his back is impressive.
No, but that's a horrible justification. They gave no reasoning for him being above Grievous. Grievous would stomp him. Grievous would stomp him with one arm. No, he could stomp him with all his arms cut off with just his legs. Grievous would still probably beat him.
Is it weird including Han Solo in this list? The smuggler turned rebel hero showed time and time again that he flies a ship like no one else in the galaxy. Being a great pilot will only get you so far, though. Surely there's more to this character than that, right? Well, we think that there is. Han shows a knack for improvisational planning. He makes the best of his situation and thinks on his feet. It's the kind of gut feeling that you can't teach. He doesn't have Luke's abilities or Leia's smarts, but he does make do. To survive all the battles and fights he's endured took some kind of strength. We're just not entirely sure where it came from.
Yeah, that's pretty random. I don't even know if this is a power scaling video. Like, this is clearly not who would win in a fight, because they can't honestly think Han Solo would beat Grievous. Okay, this is just really weird.
So, if this was a collector contest, or a coffin contest, Grievous would certainly earn first place. It's not though, and we need to be honest about this guy's abilities. He's great at showing no mercy when confronted during battle, but he's not the grand fiend we sometimes consider him to be. More often than not, Grievous runs away at the first sign of trouble. He preys on the weak and unsuspecting Jedi, but the minute someone powerful confronts him, he folds. He's constantly overwhelming and wearing down his opponents with waves of droids to make his victories seem better than they actually are. He's the epitome of all bark and no bite when push comes to shove.
That's not true at all. I mean, yeah, he's not an honorable fighter. Like, he'd gladly ditch a battle if he doesn't have to fight it, but if they did any research, they'd know that he regularly stomps Jedi Masters and Knights. That was bad. Yeah, okay. I mean, I think the only one they actually got right on this list, I mean, they got Rey kind of right. Luke should have been at the top. That's probably the only placing that I really agree with. The rest of them were all wrong. I mean, they had Kenobi way too high. Kenobi is definitely weaker than Yoda. I mean, even Old Man Kenobi is still weaker than Yoda. And yeah, Dooku should have been way higher. Dooku's up there with Windu. And I think they put Qui-Gon above Windu. Yeah, that's insane. Qui-Gon's definitely not above Windu or Dooku. I mean, even Maul beat Qui-Gon, and they still put Qui-Gon above Maul. That was ridiculous. Yeah. Okay, guys. So I watched this video, so you guys don't have to. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the debunk. Yeah, if you have any other suggestions for videos, then suggest them in the comments. And join our Discord so we can chat about stuff. That'd be cool. Yeah. Cool. Cheers.